Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our series on iOS development using UIKit, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can have our UILabel's font size adjust if the text content is too long for the width of the label. Now, this is useful if, for example, you are trying to adapt for dynamic type, or you are trying to adapt for dynamically generated content and all that kind of stuff. More specifically, with dynamically generated content, this is useful. However, there are a few caveats to doing this. And that is, you want to make sure that you have a minimum scale factor as well to make sure that the font size doesn't get too small for the user, because you want the user to still be able to read the text. If it's too small, what's the point, right? So we're gonna alongside showing you if I could English today, alongside showing you how to adjust the font size, we're also going to show you how you can make sure that it doesn't exceed a minimum, or make sure it doesn't go beyond a minimum scale factor to keep the text legible. And we're also going to show you how we can truncate the text if it still exceeds the label's width, even with the decreased font size, because you're going to want to let the user know, hey, there's still there's more text here. In that case, so let's go ahead and go into the code. So in Xcode, we first need to limit the number of lines that this label can have, because this adjusts, when we're adjusting the font size based on the length of the text and stuff like that, this is specifically for single line labels. So we need to limit this to one line. And to do that, we can say HWLabel dot number of lines equals 1. All right, so now that we've limited the number of lines for our label, we can then tell it HWLabel dot adjusts font size, adjusts font size to fit width. This is a Boolean, so we're going to set this to true. By default, it's false, so by default, the font size will not adjust. It'll just go right off the screen if it's set to false. But because we've set this to true here, it will now adjust. The only issue that we have left to, one of the two issues we have left is, first, the size will keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking depending on how long the text is, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that it remains legible. So to do that, we need to say minimum. Let's see. So we want HWLabel dot minimum scale factor. And let's say we want the label font size to have a minimum font size of half of what it currently is. Right? So half of the default will be, let's see here, equals 1.5. So our scale factor is 1.5. This basically says, hey, this should be half of what it is. Half of what the current size is should be our minimum. You could also say 2 to say, hey, the minimum is gonna be like twice as small, right? But we're only gonna say 1.5. Just for now. We will change it here in a second to show you what it looks like at 2, but we're going to keep it at 1.5. Then we need to say HWLabel dot truncation mode, I think it is. Let's see, we want... Okay, so what we're going to have to do then is we can say, let's actually look at the documentation. Okay, so we can say UILabel truncate label if doesn't fit width. And if we go through our Google results here, let's see. We want, let's see here. We want, okay. Let's take a look at this Stack Overflow post. We're going to go to A9 Answers. Okay, let's see. Line break mode. That's what we're looking for. So, inside of our Xcode, dot line break mode equals dot, we want by truncating tail. Now, what I did just then, going into Safari and then Googling what we needed for truncation, you're going to be doing that quite often, especially when you're still learning. So I wanted to show you, how we can go through that process, because you're going to be doing that a lot. And that's fine. Everybody does it while learning, and even I still do it, because I don't remember everything, and you shouldn't try to remember everything. I haven't and this wasn't staged either, to be clear. I couldn't remember how to truncate this before I began recording. So my thought process was, hey, this is the perfect learning opportunity. This is a great way to teach you guys that, hey, it's okay to go to Google and try to look up what you need. So, with that being said, we now have our truncation rules set using our line break mode, and then we have our line limit set to 1. we have our, we have the adjust font size to fit width, and we have our scale factor. So that is all the code we need. We're going to save this and run our code. And now you can see our content here. It works like you would expect it to, and if it's if the text is too long, it will truncate it. It'll truncate it after decreasing the font size, right? Let's say we want the. In fact, let's go ahead and expand the text here to include even more. So we want. Okay. So let's. Okay. There we go. All right. So now this will definitely exceed the width of our screen even after the font size is decreased. So if we run this now, you can see 100% that at the end there's 3 dots. That indicates that it's been truncated at the end of the label's text, which tells the user, hey, there's more text here, we just can't display all of it. Now let's go ahead and change the minimum scale factor. Instead of 1.5, let's say we change it to like 3. So a third of its size. And now you can see the label's even smaller. However, because of the length of our string, it still cuts off. Okay, so that is about it for this video. That's how we can use some of the properties of UILabel to allow our label text to shrink to try to fit the width of the label, and how we can truncate the text of our label if it still doesn't fit the width of our label. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.